Stugatz here. SeatGeek is the smartest, easiest way to find tickets for the football games you want to see up close and in person this season. There's nothing like being in the stadium for the biggest plays of the year, and with SeatGeek, it's never been easier to get the guaranteed seats you want for a great value. I have the SeatGeek app on my phone, and it's by far the easiest way I found to shop for tickets. I can be anywhere, and with just a few taps, I can instantly find seats for this weekend or any game this season. Plus, every ticket you buy on SeatGeek is backed by their 100% guarantee, so you can shop for tickets on SeatGeek with confidence. Best of all, my listeners get a $20 rebate off their first SeatGeek purchase. To get your $20 rebate on tickets, download the SeatGeek app, go to the Settings tab, and click Add a Promo Code. Enter promo code LeBatard. SeatGeek will send you $20 after you've made your first ticket purchase. Download the SeatGeek app and enter promo code LeBatard today.
It is time to talk baseball with Tim Kirshen.
Jim Tomsula looks like a 1980s Olympics bronze medalist in the shot put.
Poor guy.
Every week during the baseball season, ESPN's premier baseball insider joins Dan and Stugatz to drop some hardball knowledge and take your calls.
Doris Burke looks like a psychiatrist who starts each session saying, "So let's talk about you."
Here is Dan LeBatard, Stugatz, and Tim Kirshen on ESPN Radio.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. In November, Progressive is giving thanks for our military servicemen and women by donating over 100 vehicles to veterans in need through its Keys to Progress program. To learn more, go to progressive.com/keys to progress. Tim Kirch, you're going to join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line in just a second. I'll take your phone call, 786-456-4837. Here's your SportsCenter update. A classic last night as the Cubs win their first World Series since 1908. 8-7 over the Indians, 10 innings. Ben Zobrist, your World Series MVP. Week 9 in the NFL kicks off tonight. Thursday Night Football, Falcons and Bucks, 8:25 Eastern from Tampa. And finally, Deadpool director Tim Miller is developing a live-action CGI hybrid Sonic the Hedgehog. Film, by the way. Get your home in shape for the season with huge savings right now at Lowe's, where you'll find great deals on all your winter needs. So hurry into your neighborhood store today to make your home happy all season long. For all the latest headlines and information, tune in to SportsCenter on ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
Texter writes in, "You guys are doing a whole lot of sports talk today. What's the matter with you?" We've got a lot of dalliances, actually, a lot of digressions, I should say. We've got Ric Flair is going to join us. We've got this woman who was bilked by a casino, and we've got a reporter and some fake doctors who mangled a penis surgery. But last night's baseball game was a call your friends, call your parents, call your father situation. Did you see that? And we don't get that many of those. And probably the last time we had it in sports is when LeBron James chased down Andre Iguodala in Game 7.
That was the height of baseball interest last night, right? Like, that's it. It will never get that interesting again.
Well, I mean, there is the absolutist.
Well, how could it?
Stugatz. Well, we'll see. Let's see. Tim Kirshen with us. Now, Tim Kirshen told you a couple years ago the Cubs were going to do this. Told you a couple of years ago that this was going to happen, that they were coming, and that they were going to be this kind of good. How valuable, Tim, and thank you for joining us. If you want to talk to him, 786-456-4837. How valuable is Theo Epstein, builder of two of these things now? He's a curse crusher at the age of 43 years old.
Yeah, Dan, he's really smart, and he can see things that others can't see, and his vision on these things is remarkable, and he's going to go down as certainly one of the greatest executives of all time, if not the greatest executive, for what he did in Boston and now in Chicago. And the key, Dan, as you know, is when he got there, he looked at it and said, wow, is there a lot of work to do here? And he promised, I'm going to take care of this. I'm going to do this, but I'm going to do it my way. I'm going to do it methodically. And they were really bad under him for several years. And people were starting to wonder. But he said the whole time, I know how to do this. And they got there a year earlier than I thought, but he built it perfectly to the point now that this team could contend for many, many years to come. Granted, they have tremendous money and resources, but he helped build some of those resources with the way he drafted and developed players.
Timmy, obviously a classic last night. I love when you do this. No one does it better than you. Put that game in perspective for us and the audience.
Well, it's certainly one of the greatest World Series games I've ever seen. It's certainly one of the greatest Game 7s of all time. But I'm trying not to overstate this, but I don't think I am. I think that was the biggest night in Major League history. More people watched that game than any other game in the history of the sport. And when you look at the storylines before the game, 1948, 1908, the whole Theo Epstein element, the whole Tito Francona element, he wins, he walks into the Hall of Fame, the whole Corey Kluber pitching again on short rest, the whole story about how these teams got to this point made it, going into the game, one of the greatest nights in baseball history. And then we got that ridiculously great game with so much drama. I mean, I've seen better games than that because that was an imperfect masterpiece last night in a lot of different ways. But as far as drama, storylines, and everything else, I really believe that was the biggest night in Major League history.
What was your favorite snapshot? You got Rizzo pocketing the baseball before going to celebrate on the mound. You got Chris Bryant smiling. Can't keep the smile off his face.
Awesome.
As the ground ball that is the last out rolls to him at third base, you can see him smiling. He's not worried about an error. He knows that he's got the game wrapped up. What was your favorite snapshot?
Well, those are two of them. And then David Ross on people's shoulders, players' shoulders, walking around the field after the game was just unforgettable. Given that, you know, this guy is 39 years old, he is going to be now the only player ever to hit a home run in Game 7 of the World Series and then retire. No one's ever done that before. But without being corny about this, Dan, the snapshots for me are all the Cub fans who cried after that game because it is personal to them, as it is to so many other fans in so many other cities, but maybe more so in Chicago because of 108 years. And when I got back to my hotel last night after work, it's 2:30 in the morning, and there is this fellow my age standing in the hotel lobby with a Cub shirt on, and he's literally crying. And I'm standing right next to him, and I just casually asked him, "Are you all right?" And he said, "Well, I just talked to my father on the phone. He's 90, and he'd never seen the Cubs win before." And he said he cried through the whole conversation, and that's what this story is all about.
And now Cleveland has the longest drought, right? They go from that close to
Amazing.
They've got the longest drought in the sport. Is that accurate?
That is true, Dan. And let's not look. They had a 3-1 lead in this World Series, and they lost the World Series. But it is a miracle in a lot of ways that they ever got to this point without Michael Brantley, who's their best all-around outfielder. And boy, could they have used another good outfielder in this series. They got here without two of their three starting pitchers, Salazar and Carrasco, who are really good. And Tito Francona did one of the most amazing jobs I've ever seen getting this team prepared and getting this team to this point. And they almost won. And I just feel so sorry for them. I know we're not allowed to feel sorry in this business, but my goodness, 1997, the way they lost that game, and then to lose in extra innings in 2016, it's just heartbreaking. I'm here in Cleveland, and you can feel it wherever you go.
Tim, did you have a scratch-your-head moment with either of the managers last night? A scratch-your-head moment.
I had about 10 scratch-my-head moments, mostly with Joe Madden, which, again, is the beauty of the sport, is how we're allowed to second-guess as we're watching here. I can't believe the way that he used Aroldis Chapman in Game 6. All right, maybe you bring him in the seventh inning to get Francisco Lindor with two guys on with a 5-run lead. Maybe you could think about that. But then you get him out of the game and get him ready for Game 7. Instead, he pitched him in the 8th, and he started him to pitch the 9th inning also. Amazing. And then last night he took Kyle Hendricks out of that game after 4 2/3 innings. That kid was dealing. That kid has no pulse rate when he's on the mound. He is so competitive. He is so good. And they took him out early and brought in a starting pitcher who hadn't pitched in relief in years on 2 days rest. And then he brought Chapman in again. Joe Madden made so many second-guessable moves, and the Cubs still won, and maybe that's how this had to happen, that they won the first time in 108 years with all the adversity, including from their own manager, who is a great manager who did some not-so-great things in this postseason.
The bunt, 3-2 count bunt with one out. Whose decision was that? Was that Madden's?
I'm told the manager called that one, and that's unbelievable to me, Dan. In fact, I was watching a game, and a guy came up to me. He had missed a couple of pitches, and he came up to me and says, "Do you think there'll be a squeeze here?" I said, "There's 2 strikes. You can't squeeze here." And then they tried it. It was unbelievable. And that was just another thing that I just smacked my forehead and said, This can't be happening. This is Game 7 of the World Series. These things that are going on here they can't happen in June. They're happening in Game 7, an elimination game. It was just stunningly good.
Matt, you're on with Kirkshin. Go ahead, Matt.
Hey, Tim. I've had a girl. She's been with me for about a year. She recently has been real sketchy, and then asked her what's wrong. And she tells me that I'm actually the boyfriend that she's been trying to hide, and she actually has another boyfriend. How should I handle the situation? Thanks.
Again, I'm the last guy on earth that should be asked about this. I would have to tell her, look, I'm not the other boyfriend. If you have someone you like better than me, just go there and leave me out of this. That's what I would do.
That's perfect advice.
Right, good advice. Good advice. Bill, you're on with Kirkshin. Go ahead.
Hey, Tim. I'm looking for a stock tip. The Atlanta Braves are currently trading for about $17 a share on E-Trade. I was wondering if you would buy now.
Well, I've never bought a stock in my life either, believe me. The Braves are getting better. They're going to be pretty good in a couple years, but it's going to be a couple years. They're not in a very easy division. So I would say be careful with that one.
All right, let's play our game for the final time this baseball season with Tim Kirkshin. Are you ready, Tim Kirkshin?
Yeah, I'm ready for anything after last night, believe me.
This is a tired Tim Kirkshin.
Yeah, he's tired, and we thank him for his time. Pete Rose looks like I drew a face on my thumb. Yeah. Dallas Braden.
I want to meet all the guys and girls that write these things. They're the cleverest people in the whole world. Okay.
Dallas Braden looks like a lawyer on a daytime TV ad reminding me I could be eligible for substantial financial compensation.
He looks like everyone.
Yes, he does.
William Shakespeare, Larry Fine.
Butch Jones looks like the guy who tries to get off the plane first from the back row but gets stuck in the aisle next to you.
Yeah, that guy's on every one of my flights.
Yeah. Umpire Joe West looks like a baked potato.
That's terrible. I talked to him yesterday.
Yeah, but he does. He looks like a baked potato. It is terrible. Sam Bradford looks like a frozen FaceTime conversation. That's pretty good right there. Doris Burke looks like the librarian who, upon hearing a hushed conversation, pushes her glasses up her nose with the eraser of her pencil, squints in the direction of the culprits, and then shushes them at a volume twice as loud as the conversation itself. He's going to really like the Andy Reid ones. Are you ready for the Andy Reid ones?
He's in the top 5.
All right, but here we go.
With the big undies go.
Yeah, Andy Reid looks like the chef on a cattle drive that rings the supper triangle vigorously when the food is ready and eagerly watches the Cowboys eat, awaiting their approval. Andy Reid looks like the actor used in a History Channel reenactment of the Civil War who enters a tent to give Lincoln an important update. Andy Reid looks like after a nice dinner out with the wife, once in his car, he gets in to leave and with much excitement says first order of business, then pops the button open on his pants and loudly exhales.
It's Stugat's favorite time of the day. Ad time.
Ad. My father said ad there. Listen to me when I say that it's important for you to be comfortable in any setting. The last place you want to feel discomfort is where you wear your underwear. That's why you need Tommy John. Stugatz is going to tell you how to get it.
Yep, guys, to be as comfortable as possible through it all, you need Tommy John, the 21st century men's underwear brand that never rides up. It's crafted from super light, breathable fabric that moves with you, not against you, and backed by the best pair you'll ever wear, or its free guarantee. Tommy John, no adjustment needed. Save 20% on your first order with code Miami at TommyJohn.com. That's Miami for 20% off at TommyJohn.com.
The best in the business, Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio. Dan Le Batard.
Stugatz is very excited about this Derrick Rose trade, and he'll talk himself into anything, and he'll forget things said in the past.
Damaged goods. He should have goods on the back of his Bulls jersey.
Stugatz.
But he's mine now.
I know.
He's my damaged goods.
That is right there. Sports fandom.
But now there's upside.
You should have upside on the back of his jersey.
He does upside.
Retired damaged goods. Put that jersey in the rafters in Chicago, and now this is a fresh start. Upside is what it says on the back of the jersey now.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugatz on ESPN Radio.
You can get in touch with the show anytime through the 1-800-Flowers Twitter feed, at Le Batard Show, at Stugatz790. Dan, it is time for Straight Talk. It's presented by Straight Talk Wireless. Best phones, best networks, half the cost.
I know we've talked a lot of sports today, and I know many of you are upset by that. Ric Flair is going to join us. We've got a Miami Herald reporter reporting on a crazy story in Miami that's not so crazy in Miami because we've got a lot of fake surgeries in Miami, a lot of fake doctors. We've told you about the story about we got a lot of fake stuff in Miami, and we've told you that the fake butt industry is very popular here, more popular here than it is anywhere, and we got a lot of fake doctors, one of whom ended up in jail putting Fix-A-Flat in a fake butt for a human being, and now we've got a mangled penis situation with someone who tried to get a penile enhancement, so we're going to get to that. And we've got that lottery winner who was a loser. She got a steak dinner. She won $43 million. That's coming up in 10 minutes. She won $43 million at a slot machine.
Yeah,
and
it wasn't lottery. It was a slot machine. They claimed that it was a malfunction. There was a glitch, and so they took the $42 million back and gave her a steak dinner.
So we're going to talk to her in 10 minutes. But a lot of the things that we analyze in sports were rendered meaningless last night in a way that I found interesting. It's not just that for all the criticizing we do of the managers, the Loon won last night. The Loon is holding up the trophy. It's this one. How many of you were saying the pressure was getting to Baez? He's a great defensive player. He made 2 errors early. Was the pressure getting to him when he hit the home run? Right? Or how about this one? Rizzo's in the dugout, wired for sound. Before I left the sound, I actually heard some useful wired for sound. It wasn't on the David Ross home run where they went to wired for sound and there was no sound. It was just him running the bases very professionally.
Breathing heavy.
I mean, they went to wired for sound. That was access to show you we have access.
Yep.
That's access. Here is the sound of no sound. Here's wired for ambient sound. Here's David Ross breathing. Why? Because we paid a lot for the rights to this, and we have the rights to put a microphone on him breathing. How do you not make fun of that when it happens? How does Joe Buck or somebody that go, wow, well, that was useless?
You have to, right?
I mean, how do you not make fun of that? That was totally useless. He was wired for sound. There was no sound.
There was a point in the game where they showed Anthony Rizzo saying how nervous he was.
Well, this is what I was going to say. But what I was going to say with this, how much of your analysis? There's a guy articulating for you that he is terrified. Double late. double in the inning that matters most.
How about David Ross, the cagey vet, the guy who's been around forever? He's been in these moments, and his advice to Anthony Rizzo, breathe.
I mean, there was a lot of useless stuff. You were telling me during a break that what was being celebrated after the game was the team meeting Jason Hayward called during the rain delay.
They were almost giving him credit for the victory. I'm sorry. $180 million, and Jason Hayward gave you a speech during a rain delay. To remind you, this is what Jason Hayward said. He said, I reminded them who they were. Well, at that point, who were they? I mean, honestly, they were a team that hadn't won a World Series in 108 years.
How many road games did it go without a hit?
It's just beautiful, all of it. In terms of mythologizing and narrative, leader. Some things show up only in the clubhouse, where the Cubs wish that Hayward had stayed the entire postseason. He should have just conducted meetings.
That is Straight Talk. It is brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless, nationwide coverage on America's largest and most dependable network.
Speaking of mangled penises,
21 straight road games without a hit.
Yeah.
Oh,
right.
Hero.
Yeah, team meeting.
Leader.
Team meeting. I'm going to remind you guys of who we are. I'm someone who doesn't have a postseason hit in 21 straight road games.
$200 million for guys bring it in.
Yeah. The Cubs do a dong celebration.
Yeah, instead of high fives. Oh, yeah, they stick a leg out and they catch the inner thigh.
Yep.
All right, we've got this bilked slot machine winner. I want to go through this. I want to figure out what happened to this woman here. She's going to join us next.
There is nothing better than the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio. Dan Le Batard.
The bifocal eyeglasses.
Stugatz.
Marcus Mariota, growing up right in front of our eyes.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugatz on ESPN Radio.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Guests on the Dan Le Batard Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Here's your SportsCenter update. The Cubs won the World Series last night as they took Game 7, 8-7 over the Indians, 10 innings. Ben Zobrist, your World Series MVP. Cubs' first World Series championship since 1908. Russell Westbrook and the unbeaten Thunder visit the Warriors tonight. Westbrook said it's just another game on the schedule. And finally, Miss Piggy now has a couture fashion line. This Sports Center is brought to you by JCPenney. Hurry into JCPenney's Lucky Day sale and get great deals throughout the store for just $7. Plus, get $10 off when you spend $25 or more with coupon. That's getting your pennies worth. JCPenney. For all the latest headlines and information, tune in the Sports Center on ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
We'll get back to baseball at some point here with varying degrees of success, but Katrina Bookman is someone who was recently laid off from her housekeeping job at a local hospital. She's got 4 kids, and she was playing a slot machine, and it gave her a $43 million jackpot, $42.9 million. But then the printed ticket reportedly showed $2.25. So she was very excited. She thought she had won $43 million. The casino said it was a slot machine malfunction. So let's go through some of this story with Katrina Bookman. Thank you, Katrina, for joining us. Okay, take us through what happened. Take us exactly through what happened.
Well, I went to the casino expecting to win, just like anybody else too. And I played in the slot machine. I was actually playing two same machines. And I was playing one to my right, and the winning one was to my left. And then after I played the max of the machine, and when I went to hit the machine to my left, the winning one, then I just glanced to the right to hit that one. When I came back to the left one, all I see was a screen of 43. All I did was freeze and just get numb.
So what was the machine that you were playing? Like, what came up on the machine? Was it all whatever was supposed to, or it just said $42.9 million?
It just said $42.9 million. It didn't say star, question mark, dot, 42, star, dot, and say nothing like that. It said 42.9.
All right, put us there. So your reaction when you thought you had won $43 million.
I was in a state of shock. I was excited. I was feeling great. All I could think about is, where's my ticket? Where's my ticket? They saying that I had a ticket. I had a ticket. Nothing really came. That was a blank thing. They said in 225, you show me what you're talking about. I would love for them just to show me what they're talking about. And when I thought I won, they telling me, all the people coming around me, they taking pictures, and the business people coming with this fancy suits and the fancy shoes, pull me to the side with securities and all that stuff, and they're telling me, they're giving me a dispute form. And the dispute form, they had to make sure I was me on the security camera. Then they got in touch with the person from the slot machine and the person that owns the casino or whatever. And they told me to come back the next day.
What did you think while playing the machine that was the maximum payout? Did you think it was that much?
Well, actually, of course, I would think it's that much when people were telling me that I should come back the next day and they're giving me a dispute form. Because when it came on the floor, the technician from the machine also came to the floor, and a lot of people came to the floor, and the people that works the machine, they said, they act like they didn't even know what was going on.
All right, so explain this to me. Katrina Bookman with us on ESPN Radio. When you started playing the machine, if I told you, what's the most that you can win here if you get the maximum jackpot, what would you have guessed the most was?
The most was, at that time, I think it was $200,000. I'm not too particular sure because I was playing two machines at that time.
So, and how much was the machine you were playing? What's the maximum amount that you were playing?
The maximum machine at that time, it was $4 or $5 max. I was playing $4 or $5 a game.
Okay.
And the max was, I think, was $4 $4 the max. And that's what I played, the max.
And how often do you play that machine?
Well, there's a lot of different machines. Yeah, I usually play on the second floor. I play on the floor. This is when I just got free time and, I'm free. I want to have a little front time with my friends or something. It's a close area, so we usually go there. It's just that when I was playing the machine, it wasn't no manufacturer. It wasn't nothing wrong. It was, wasn't nothing wrong with the machine or nothing like that at all. So it's just that I would like to let people know that that day of August 23rd, I wish they would come forward and get in touch with my lawyer, my attorney, Rick Allen, the best. He really made things happen for me and stuff like that. He, helped me get through all the things that's been going on and stuff, and he explained to me that, we can get through this. So I'm trying to get people to know to play that machine. They might have lost their money through the whole day. You know what I'm saying? Whoever was playing that machine, they need to come forward, because if they say that something was wrong with that machine, that means all day something was wrong with it. So anybody that was playing that day, they might have been getting their money taken away. And they tell me that all I deserve is $225. I didn't start with no $225. So what are you talking about? That's all I deserve.
Well, what do you feel like you're entitled to?
I've been telling to least, I'll say, the math, but for all this, I say I deserve the $43.9 million.
Say I'm with you.
I think I deserve to have that, at least half or something, but not no steak dinner. I would rather for them to prefer me giving me a slot machine ticket and let me play their machine again so they can take it back. They could have did something like that. They would sit there and offer me a steak dinner and, and thinking it was like, hey, take a steak dinner and run. And I knew for a fact, he told me you got to get a lawyer. So what I did was look around, look for the best lawyer that I could find. Him was Alan Richter, and he was just a person that made me feel comfortable, and he told me he believed in me, and he's fighting through here with me, and I'm not alone, and he's making me feel safe and secure, because this is a scared ride, when you're dealing with people that's, top door, white-collar people, business people, got that money, people, and people little like me, they just want to stomp down, and if you don't know no difference, they'll try to take advantage of you. So it is help out there.
I love this woman.
You're great. Was the steak good?
Steak good? I ain't getting no steak. I got my own steak.
All right.
I got my own steak. Believe that.
Yeah.
Believe that. She don't need your crappy second
I don't
place
need
steak.
your steak. I'm good. First of all, I don't like red meat.
Yeah. Katrina Bookman with us.
I eat fish and chicken.
Katrina Bookman with us on ESPN Radio. So how does this work? What's the next step on this? What do you think is going to happen next? What does your attorney think is going to happen next?
We just hoping that they just sit down and try to make some type of agreement, some type of just have a little sit down or something like that and just talk to us, because the way they handle it, they told me they'd get back in touch with me. Nobody never got back in touch with me, So when I got in touch with my lawyer, attorney, he really went through it with me, He really sat me down and he let me know that he believed in me and we can something should come out of this. Something should come out of it, even if we have to bend and no one play these casino where manufacturer doesn't plays or plays. How you gonna say that? You telling people that, hey, if the machine breaks down if you win, hey, anytime you win, this is gonna break down? That's not fair. It doesn't do that when it takes my money.
Yeah, we need to get behind Katrina. Let's go. Everybody get behind Katrina. Get behind the little woman. Yeah, we're with Katrina. Let's go. Pay that woman her money. Come on.
Yes, we need people that's real people who want to be playing with a machine anymore. We need people. These slot machines are taking people's jobs.
Yeah. The machines cannot win.
Yes. Yes, indeed. It's taking people's jobs and stuff like that. They saying that, they are donating to the education and stuff like that with the winners. Okay, cool. That's good. I love it and everything. But I guess I'll do a little more, too, in my community as well. And believe me, they have jobs.
Hold on a second, Katrina. We're bringing in a big gun here.
Yep.
Carl Douglas from the O.J. Simpson documentaries. He's our attorney on retainer here.
Katrina, one of the best attorneys in America
Yes.
Okay?
Carl,
we got your back.
Carl, this is the issue we've got. This woman, that she hit a slot machine, $42.9 million, and the casino said it was a malfunction, and they gave her a steak dinner. That's all they gave her, and she's got pictures, and they've got $42.9 million, the jackpot. Carl, help this woman out.
Gee, Dan, it sounds like something is really wrong, man.
Yes. We need your help here. We need to bring in a big gun to figure out what kind of case this woman's got here.
Well, sometimes if something is so outrageously wrong, it's hard for you to believe that it's accurate. But because $42 million on a slot machine is clearly something wrong. But something more than a steak dinner should be the...
That's right. What more? Right. What more? Right. That's right. Damn right, Carl Douglas. What more? How much more?
40 million more steaks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Come on, Carl.
Carl, what should she be asking for?
She should be asking for a couple of $1 million, perhaps. I don't know.
Yes, all right. Good conviction, Carl. He came in here. He came in strong.
Carl, do it. Yeah.
All right, Katrina. Carl did not have the conviction that we needed from him on this spot.
Well, I wanted Carl to help her out, take the case, do something. Let's go.
No, he didn't sound like he wanted any part of that case. I don't know what happened there. All right, Katrina, we're in your corner.
A couple of millions.
All right, at least a couple of million.
We're with you, Katrina. We're not going to forget this. We're not going to let this go. We got your back. Okay?
Katrina,
I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a great and blessed day.
All right, you too. Thank you, Katrina.
Cash rules everything around me.
She was great.
Yes, she was.
I mean, amazing.
With the freshest ingredients and easy-to-make recipes, you better believe Blue Apron is a good deal for you. It's literally ain't no thing but a chicken wing. Roy's run out of material. For me, it seems. I don't even know what I just said. Go ahead, Stugat. Tell them about Blue Apron.
Guys, you're going to love Blue Apron. We do an hour house for less than $10 per meal. Blue Apron delivers seasonal recipes along with pre-portioned ingredients to make delicious home-cooked meals. Blue Apron knows that when you cook with incredible ingredients, you make incredible meals. So they set the highest quality standards for their community of artisanal suppliers, family-run farms, fisheries, and ranchers. Whether it's Japanese ramen noodles, wild-caught Alaskan salmon, or heirloom tomatoes, Blue Apron is bringing you the absolute best. Customize your recipes each week based on your preferences. Choose delivery options to fit your needs. There's no weekly commitment, so you only get deliveries when you want them. It's awesome, guys. You're going to love it. Check out this week's menu and get your first 3 meals for free with free shipping by going to blueapron.com/Stugotz. You'll love how good it feels and tastes to create incredible home-cooked meals with Blue Apron. So don't wait. That's blueapron.com/Stugotz. Blue Apron, a better way to cook.
Mi familia, Dan and Stu will be back on ESPN Radio.
Start your day with Barbasol Shaving Cream, America's leader for a close, comfortable shave.
Dan Le Batard.
At Le Batard Show on Twitter is how you reach us. Somebody does so by writing in, I usually listen to you on the radio. Today I'm watching on TV. Dan looks terribly puffy and hungover. Yeah.
Stugotz.
When you step out of bed and your feet hit the ground, or like cans, like do you hear the sounds of
brother.
cans and bottles?
Not cans. Come on, man. Come on, man. Bottles, baby. You got me dragging through the house like a wedding, a honeymoon car. Cans on the back of my bumper.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
We've had a good week, a fun week, a wild week. So good and fun and wild that we didn't even notice, Mike, that Stugotz again went 0-6 against the spread.
Yep.
Picking games again went 0-6. And he's befouled his record. Like, he's tried to improve it by 1 week picking 15 games, and I think he split. It's the only thing he's had close to success, but it's just, what is your record now on the season against the spread?
11-31-2.
I think that might be distorted. I think
my regret is, you're right, I haven't had a winning week yet. Not one. Not a single winning week. And my regret is doing that 1 week where I picked every single game, because that's where I got, I think, 7 or 8 wins.
Oh, no, you fouled up the whole record. You fouled up the whole thing. You picked 15 games on purpose just to make your record look less bad.
Yeah.
Don't think we're not on to your camouflaging tricks. But Stugotz again went 0-6. Against the spread last week, which is just an amazing run. But he was suggesting during the break, Mike, that Katrina Bookman should be our celebrity prognosticator. You guys loved her. Just have her pick games. Ric Flair is going to be on to be the actual celebrity prognosticator this week. But I think we should have that woman on, figure out a way to get her on to do something with her.
Yes. I like the idea when Ric Flair is done. I mean, I hope Ric Flair is never done. I hope he wins for the remainder of time. But when he's done, I like the idea of Katrina Bookman going head-to-head with Colin.
Yeah, our celebrity prognosticator.
What a great name for a prognosticator, too. A sports prognosticator?
Yes.
Bookman.
Bookman, yes.
Many of you really befouled that interview, which was delightful, by pointing out that if she'd been laid off from her housekeeping job and had 4 kids, she shouldn't have been playing the slots. Like, so many of you decided to write in with that. Like, I need your moral lectures about irresponsibility in the middle of that delightful interview.
Would they like a lecture on desperation?
I mean, the slots by themselves, yes, it's a bad mathematical play, the slots. That is correct. And they keep building casinos all over the world with that bad mathematical play. Yes, you can feel morally superior by calling her behavior irresponsible, and you would be right. And you would be the befouler of a delightful interview. Now, I do want to ask you guys this question, because some people were writing in that it says on the machine somewhere, that the maximum payout is $2,500. I don't know if this is accurate or not, but many people have written it in. Does that change it at all for you if it says that on the machine somewhere?
Not for me, no. Doesn't. I mean, I'm not saying she should get all $43 million, but it certainly shouldn't be a steak dinner either.
Well, I think everybody would agree with that. I think everybody would agree that at the very least, they should give her a big casino credit.
Absolutely.
At the very least.
Very least, yes.
For their malfunction. But I told you I had something like that happen to me one time in a have I told you this story? A bunch of friends of mine. You know, I find strip clubs sad, and none sadder than the one on South Beach where you can't serve liquor. So you can't serve liquor at the strip club, and that's the only way you're allowed to have nudity. And I'm walking past it one day, and a bunch of my high school friends, tumble out of a limousine for a bachelor party, and they just sort of sweep me in. I hadn't seen them in 20 years. They're like, come on in here. And I go to an ATM inside because I don't have any cash on me, and all it gives me is funny money. It gives me a bunch of funny money that I can only use there. It looks like a normal ATM. It looks totally normal.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is this? And they wouldn't give me a refund. And they showed me in small print where it said, tiny, tiny print. It was meant to fake me out. Tiny print that the funny money could only be used there. And I'm like, you guys are kidding me. And they're like, no. And I left 5 minutes later and I lost whatever it was, $600, whatever the max was.
So you went there for 3 straight months.
No, I left the money there. But I'll tell you what, this is the work my brother does. My brother graffitied their limousine. $600 worth of damage.
Ah, buddy, this is the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
Hey, I'm Chad Millman on the latest Behind the Bets podcast. Bob Scucci joins me from Vegas. We talk about the Cubs and their dominance in the betting markets, NFL action being down. Plus, we run through the entire slate of NFL games from the wise guy perspective.
I'm Andy Katz from ESPN, along with my co-host Seth Greenberg. On the latest edition of the ESPN College Basketball Podcast, we are going to discuss the notice of allegations at Louisville and Seth Greenberg on a tour around the country. Go to the ESPN app and click on the headphone icon to get our podcast.
Oregon brings an offense averaging over 40 points per game into the Coliseum to face the red-hot USC Trojans. Coverage begins Saturday at 6:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio, presented by Dr. Pepper.